Hi, good morning guys, thanks for joining me. Hope everyone's well, hope everyone's having a nice week. And what I thought we'd do in today's video is just talk quickly about a few of the items which I purchased at the Bushcraft Show. I had an absolutely awesome time there. There was all the big retailers, the small retailers, there was a lot of demos going on. Like I mentioned in the video, probably around about 2 weeks ago I think it was, I was very interested in all the primitive stuff, all the flint knapping, all the bark containers, you know, stuff that we were doing thousands of years ago. But for today's video, I've actually brought a few of the items out. I've just laid them on the tarp here, and also I've had an awesome gift sent in the post. That's something which I'm going to show you and something which we're going to run through. So like I've just mentioned, these are a few of the items here which I purchased at the Bushcraft Show. This wasn't everything that I brought. There was a few bits of leather working stuff, some dies, tools and bits of leather and the likes which I've actually kept in the house. You know, this stuff here was more relevant, you know, the kind of things which I thought that you'd be more interested in looking at. So even though I actually purchased all this at the Bushcraft Show, it is relevant stock. You can actually get this, you know, from the retailers at the moment. I will leave all the links in the description box where you can buy it from, the website addresses and also the cost. And this little section here was the gift which was actually sent in the post this week. It's absolutely blown me away, an absolutely awesome top quality gift. We'll run through that, you know, a bit later on in the video. So the video itself is going to be quite quick. They're not going to be reviews. You know, I haven't used this stuff enough. It's just going to be more a case of, you know, some of the newer stuff that's out there. Perhaps you've not seen it before, perhaps you may be interested in buying it. You know, that was the idea behind today's video. So I'm just going to start off with this small little can here. Certainly relevant at this time of the year. And this is some insect repellent which has been made by Northern Forest. And something which I've been wearing quite a bit of, you know, this week whilst I've been at work. So the insect repellent itself comes in one of these small convenient little cans, and the size of the can is 15ml. You know, personally when I first brought it I thought it could have done with being in a larger size can, but after using it for a couple of weeks, you know, it has lasted a long time. You don't need much of it on, and also the size of the can is perfect just to keep in a trouser pocket or a shirt pocket, something like that. If the can was any bigger, you know, there's going to be more chance of leaving it in the rucksack, you know, and perhaps not having it with you when you need it. So the ingredients that the guys put in this, like I say, it is all natural. It is actually made out in the forests of Scotland, and the recipe, you know, is around about 200 years old, so we were saying. So the ingredients in it is genuine pine tar, olive oil, beeswax, bog myrtle, lavender and eucalyptus. And there's a lot of them little biting insects that don't like all of the stuff that's in this, things like your gnats, your mosquitoes, horseflies, midges and all that kind of stuff. And with it being natural, you know, there's no detour chemicals in it. There's going to be no chance of it burning your skin, melting your sunglasses, you know, or if you do any kind of fishing, you know, melting your fly lines and that kind of stuff. The smell of it, to me, is very, very pleasant. It smells like when you open your tarp up, you know, you get that smoky smell. That's obviously when they're burning the wood to get the pine tar. So, you know, a nice pleasant smell to us, but something that the insects don't like. One of these little cans is going to set you back around about £6. You can either buy it directly from the guy. He has got a Facebook page, and I think it's actually called Northern Forest, or you can actually get it from Woodland Ways. All the links will be in the description box. And when you put it on, you don't need much of it. Just warm it up just to start it melting, and it does absorb in the skin quite cleanly, and there's no greasy, you know, after feel. No chance of actually, you know, getting all the grease on all the stuff that you're going to be touching. So in my opinion, you know, it's working quite well, and it's perhaps worth looking at, certainly this time of year when there's a lot of insects about. The next thing I'd like to show you is a little craft knife which I purchased, and this one has actually come from a guy called Ben Orford. For those of you which have been interested in the channel for quite a bit will know, you know, that I do like the Ben Orford knives. So this one here is his English Sloyd knife, a little bit of a craft knife, made for wood carving, you know, any kind of crafts, that kind of thing. An absolutely awesome little knife. When you do buy it, it does come with this little bit of an edge protector. This was one here that Lois had made. It's just a basic folded over little sheath. You can actually buy more heavy duty sheaths for these, or you can actually buy a little bit of a belt sheath for it. I've actually just made just a smaller little version of it there. It's certainly no better. I've just made it just a little bit smaller, you know, just so it actually fits in the carving kit just a little bit easier. So the steel that Ben's used on this knife is 01 tool steel, and that's one of my favourite steels. It does sharpen a lot easier compared to most other steels, and also it does retain the edge. One downside with 01 tool steel, if you're going to be using the knife outside, or if you're using it with greenwoods, you're better off protecting it after each session, or else it will soon start going rusty. So the thickness of the steel is 2.2mm, so it's quite a thin steel, so perfect for carving, you know, slicing, that kind of thing. And also he's rounded off the back of the spine there, so if you can have your thumb on top, it just makes it a lot more comfortable, you know, for your push cuts. So the handle itself is made from elm. This is one of the contoured handles, and these kind of things are going to set you back around about £60. Like I say, and everything on the knife is handcrafted. The handle itself, you know, has been hand carved by Ben. So obviously, you know, there's going to be a little bit of price increase, you know, if you're going to go for these kind of handles. You could just go with a basic shape. He does one very similar to the Mora. You know, I think those are around about £50, something like that. But if you go on his website, there's loads of different carving knives, you know, Sloyd knives, different handle shapes, you know, different metals, you know, whatever it is that you want to choose, really. So this knife itself is going to be used mainly for wood carving. And like I say, with that handle shape, you know, it is very comfortable. There's going to be, you know, very few hot spots or hand fatigue, certainly, you know, with my hand. But one thing, the contoured handles, you know, you're better off trying them before you buying them, just to make sure, you know, that they do fit well and they are comfortable. So the knife itself, razor sharp when you buy it. It's got a piece of sycamore here. And the knife itself, you know, certainly got enough power to be able to remove big pieces of wood. But there's also enough finesse in that blade that you can get your delicate shavings, or at the end of the carving if you just want to tidy your piece up. It's going to make that possible as well without using things like sandpaper. So this is a knife that you're going to see quite a bit of. It's certainly one which I'm going to enjoy using. I'm going to do quite a bit more carving throughout the summertime. And like I say, this knife itself here is going to be featured and used quite a bit. So just running alongside the Sloyd knife, one of the other things which I purchased from Ben is one of his sharpening kits for the wood carving tools. And this kit here was one of the basic kits. And with the basic kit you get a couple of sharpening boards, one of them having the paper on, the other having the leather on, and it's also included in this nice cotton bag here. And he's also supplied just a few different sheets of wet and dry paper, starting from 240 up to the 1200. Now the boards themselves are made out of oak, and the length of them are 12 3/4 long, 1.5 inches wide and 1/2 inch thick. So perfectly long enough, you know, wide enough. And one thing which I do like about them is that radius there, which is actually put on just so it makes it a lot easier to sharpen your hook knives and your crook knives. So like I say, you're going to get two boards. One is designed to have paper on it. You can actually just tape the paper on if you want to tape it, or just fasten it on with a couple of bands. And like I say, starting from the 240 up to the 1200, it just means then you've got all the grits and grades to be able to take any kind of damage out, but also own these knives and keep them in tip-top condition. And then with the strop itself, the pacer he always recommends is Tormek. That was something which he had in the house already, but again, you know, when you buy the kit, you can actually have it supplied with the Tormek and more selection of papers, again, you know, with different grits. And the idea behind it is you're going to put your paste just on the leather there, put it on the edges, and also just on the flat section of the board. And the boards themselves can be used obviously just for stropping the Sloyd knife with, or sharpening the Sloyd knife just on the paper itself. And when it comes to the hook knives or crook knives, you can actually just use the leather just in the traditional way. And then when it comes to the inside edge, if you want to remove any kind of burrs and just polish the inside edge, it just means then that that can be run just on that inside edge and keep everything in good working order. Just be mindful if it is that you are going to be using wet and dry paper, unlike the stones when you actually push down and cut into them. When using wet and dry paper, just like using a strop, you actually push down and drag it back just in the opposite direction, so you're not actually cutting into the paper, damaging your knife and also damaging the paper. So it's fair to say probably the most expensive thing which I brought at the show, and this is a one-off buy, is a smock here by Skillet. Absolutely awesome piece of outerwear. I've been wearing this now for the past week. Very, very comfortable, very warm, and also very durable. So this has actually been designed by Woodland Ways again. Absolutely phenomenal company, the kind of things that they sell and also the kind of things that they're designing. This has actually been designed by some of their bushcraft instructors and the kind of things that they wear, you know, when they're teaching, when they're out for long periods of time. So the main fabrics that they've used on the jacket is wool, and this is 100% virgin wool, and this is actually come from the Isle of Harris, and this is Harris tweed. So quite expensive, but like I say, it is a once in a lifetime purchase. You know, you'd expect this last, you know, 20-30 years without any kind of problems at all. So the colour of it is a darkish green. You know, the camera's probably picking it up in different colours, but you've got the greens, the browns, there's a few blues and burgundies, that kind of thing, and it actually blends in with the British woodlands, you know, absolutely brilliantly. So as well as it being a wool outer, it means it's going to shed quite a bit of the water. When it does get wet, it does retain quite a bit of the heat. And it has got an element of flame retardant, you know, with the wool itself, so it means you're not going to be peppered with holes, you know, when you're sitting out by a fire. So just on the shoulders, you've actually got this wax cotton panel which goes around the back here. Again, that's just going to protect your shoulders more from rain, but also it's a bit more of a durable patch, certainly if you're wearing a rucksack. Just on the pocket here, there's a little ferro rod holder. Your little ferro rod can actually just slip just in that little section there, you've actually got 2 outer chest pockets, and then just on this arm here, you've actually got a pen pocket, or you know, again, you can actually just fit a ferro rod in there and actually just store it and keep it safe. And as you can see on the side of the smock, it just opens up nicely there, just how it flares out. You've got no traditional zip, just like on a jacket. So it means when you sit down that things flare out and it's not restrictive around your waist. It also means then that you can just move the flap out of the way, you can just get inside your pocket, you can also get your knife or do whatever it is that you need to do. So again, they're not cheap. I paid £150 for this, but hopefully it's just that one lifetime buy. I haven't got to buy another one again. And with these kind of things, they always say don't wash them, just air them out, you know, and that'll get rid of the smell. So again, a nice hard wearing, heavy duty smock. This is hopefully going to last me 20-30 years. Nice looking, British heritage, made in Britain. What more could you ask for? And that just brings me on to these little pans here. Now these were actually sent over to me by Wade from Woodwalker 1965, so I just want to thank Wade, an absolutely awesome guy with an awesome channel. And for those of you which may have watched the cooking video, which I did, I mentioned, you know, about some steel skillets, and these were actually the little skillets which I was referring to. So for those of you which may be interested in these kind of things, I will leave the link to Wade's channel. He has got an awesome review on there with the pans themselves. You can also follow that link and that'll take you, you know, to where you can actually buy these from. So these are made in America. It's referred to as a stamped steel skillet, a lot lighter than cast iron. I think this one here, the larger one, weighs around about 9 ounces, and if it's a similar size, you know, in cast iron, you're probably looking at around about 2.5 pound in weight. So perfect if you're on foot. You know, the weight of them, you know, does lend itself to that kind of thing. It's also referred to as a cold handle or a cool handled pan, and if the camera can pick that up there, you can actually just see that there's an air gap in between this extra section, which has actually just been put over the handle itself. And the idea behind that is it actually keeps the handle cool. It just means that you can actually cook just on an open fire. You don't have to worry about wearing a glove, and that handle doesn't get too hot. So there's 2 different sizes here. There's one 7-inch and there's one 6-inch. The larger one is perfect for your breakfast, a little bit of fish, bit of meat, that kind of thing. And the small one I perhaps use, you know, for cooking bannocks. And like I say, Wade's got an awesome video showing that, you know, and actually cooking it, you know, in the pans themselves. So again, Wade, I just want to say thanks a lot, mate. You'll actually be seeing these being used, and that's something which I'm looking forward to. Just this little rack which I've actually got them on. There was a young lad at the Bushcraft Show selling this. He wanted £2.50 for it, but I give him a £5. And the beauty about this kind of thing, you know, if you're going to be cooking on an open fire, there's nothing worse than things rocking about. You put your cup on the fire, next thing you know, it's tipped up. So just put the fire underneath. That goes over the top, and then if you wanted to cook, boil your water, whatever it may be, you've just got a nice stable platform there to be able to cook on. So there we have you guys, just a quick look at a few of the things which I purchased from the Bushcraft Show. An absolutely awesome show if you've never been. I think it's around about May time again next year, so it's perhaps worth looking out for the tickets, getting them brought and having a look around. So like always guys, you just leave me to say thanks a lot for you stopping by and watching the video, like always. Until next time, you take care and I'll see you again.